It was probably more than a decade ago that my darling and I talked to each other about our future plans in our life and where we wanted to go and what did we want to do with the rest of our life. And we both came to the consensus that we wanted to live a simpler life in the countryside. We wanted to get away from the hustle and bustle of city life, not to necessarily give it all up. We still needed to work. You know, we understand that buying a small farm is not going to earn you an income for you to live on, or at least it's difficult to do so. So we're close enough to the city where we can still actually work if we need to, but it was important to get away from certain negativities that have come along with big cities nowadays, like inflation and crime, and it's just getting a little absurd as to what's happening in the world. So a simpler life was a goal of ours. Now, the normal average Joe can't just pick up their stuff and sell their house and move to the country. I mean, we obviously had to plan everything out, and we were saving for a really long time, like years and years we were saving money, because you obviously need a lot of money if you are going to purchase a property close to a city and if you're going to be developing that property. People also need to understand that small farm life or any type of homesteading in Canada is so much different than it is in the United States and other places in the world, because Canada is such a young country. Yes, we have big cities, but really if you count on your hands, there's only 5 or 6 big cities across Canada, you know, Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, maybe Calgary, Edmonton, Regina, maybe Saskatoon, Winnipeg, maybe Ottawa, right? Quebec City. Really, all the cities out east are not even that large. If you want to live close to a big city, the cities in Canada are so overpopulated, so everything is super expensive. So if you want to buy a place outside of the city, it's really expensive also. Now, it was important for us to have a plan. I'm the type of person that plans and plans anyways, but that's just the way I am. You know, I'm a critical thinking person by nature. It's a beautiful day on the farm today though, and when I say beautiful, I mean sweltering hot. Didn't you guys ever notice when we were kids there was a heat wave, and it was a heat wave, big deal. But now, when there's a heat wave, the experts, you know, the government, they call it a heat dome. Yeah, we're all under a heat dome right now. It's the same with polar vortex. I never heard of that for 30, 40 years growing up, and all of a sudden they come up with this new term, polar vortex. Now we're in a heat dome, people. So a heat wave is now called a heat dome. Government experts love telling us the right and wrong way how to live though, don't they? Life is crazy these days. There's no really putting proper words to it, how backwards life can be sometimes. That's why it was so important to my wife and I to just get away from the bustle of a city. Now, there's no small farm that's complete without a bunch of animals. Also got a bunch of barn cats because we want to naturally control the rodent population. But of course, we have lost a few cats to predators, probably coyotes. I now have invented this type of system where I let all the cats out in the morning and then I call them all back in on the afternoon. I built them a catio. I built them their own cat cave so that they have a place to go when in fact they are not going out. Like, let's say for example there's a storm. I won't let the cats out in that case. But they do a great job of controlling the rodent population for us. A lot of people have a misconception that rodents only go out at night. So cats should be out at night. And this is a misconception. It's a myth. I think it is a fact that rodents will be more active at night, but it doesn't mean they're not active during the day. Because I can tell you from firsthand experience that our claw crew catches rodents every day. Whether it be mice, voles in the field, you know, field mice, They catch chipmunks all the time, and before anybody says that we shouldn't be killing the chipmunks carry disease. Chipmunks eat the feed, and they poop in the feed, and then the chickens will eat the feed, and it's just not very sanitary. They also tunnel all around all of our outbuildings. So although chipmunks can live a free life on our farm, we do need to control the population. It's so hot right now under this heat dome that it's dark, 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 dark. We're gonna have a thunderstorm any second now. I guess we're taking a little break right now. Hopefully it'll cool off this heat dome. My darling's trapped in the chicken house, but Olive and I came down in the mule just to get out of the pouring rain. I don't like to get my camera wet like that. My sawmill's covered. I'm hoping to have a part shipped this week, so I should have a video on it. I'm missing a part that connects the gas tank to the engine. So I had to call in, and they're a really great customer service, Woodland Mills, but they have to ship me out the part, so I can't even get the thing going. But it's not getting wet because at least it's mostly covered. But that'll be one of the first things I do, is make a big roof over that unit, because I obviously don't want my $10,000 to get rusty and wet and all weathered on. So one of my focus will be, as I'm producing lumber and using it, to build something to cover this beast of a machine. But we haven't had a downpour like this in ages. It's been hot here in this heat dome for about 3 days now, so I guess the clouds just gave out. They couldn't hold in all this humidity, and finally there's a downpour. But I'll be back filming in a second, because this is just going to be maybe a short time, and then boom. We raise khaki Campbell ducks and white Campbell ducks and Emden geese. And they're beautiful Emden geese that guard the ducks while they're free ranging in our orchard every day during the non-winter months. Just last spring, I was able to build these ducks and geese their own pond. So they've been enjoying free water, swimming, diving, preening, cleaning, everything that a duck would enjoy in the natural habitat we now have in our orchard on the farm. Interesting bit of tidbit information about these white ducks that we have. They were hatched from the brown khaki Campbell ducks. So I consider them somewhat of a miracle duck. They have working these things out, and we're happy to have them on the farm. You guys are something else. You're not even scared of Olive. We keep 4 Emden geese with the ducks here out in the orchard because they protect the ducks. This is the whole idea with these geese, because they're so obnoxious, loud, honkables, and they keep the hawks away and any other aerial predators. And maybe they even keep some smallish type predators away too, like fox or raccoons or skunks or weasels, things like that. I don't know if they'd stop a coyote or a bobcat or something, but you saw what they just did with Olive. They're guards. They're our security guards, that's for sure. Now, there is a method to the madness with the ducks. We chose ducks because ducks are really good at insect management, and we decided to free range them in our orchard, especially with our cherry trees. This is a black Tartarian cherry, and this is the first year that we got actually a couple of cherry fruits off it. But the past 3 years or so, we've been dealing with these Japanese beetle infestations, and I don't know how much the ducks are assisting in that matter, but it was important to me to have ducks instead of chickens in our orchard because of all the beautiful pasture grass around here. Chickens have a tendency to want to scratch the ground looking for their insects, whereas the ducks just forage with their bills and they'll pick up any insects along the way. but chickens will scratch and scratch and scratch until all of the pasture grass is dead, where ducks don't have that issue. So that's why we chose ducks to free range in the orchard and not chickens. I just let the pigs out, so let's head down and see how they're doing. Bobby and Billy, our Juliana mini pigs. Billy! How are you, Billy? How are you? You okay? I know. I know. You're a good girl, huh, Billy? No. You gotta stay in there. Oh, you want the grass. Billy, no. No. I'll get you some grass, but you gotta stay in. Bobby, you're gonna like all this mud, eh, bud? Oh yeah, you're covered in mud. I see ya. The pigs really do like to eat all of the grass, but if I get some grass and I throw it in there for them, they don't eat it. So, you know, they like the fresh stuff, I find, but I can't let them out. I have no real way over here to keep them contained. We did have grass in these pens, but they've basically ate all the grass, they've trampled on the ground, and they've basically turned up all this soil here, so there's no more grass. It used to look like this, but I don't know what the future holds, because we do have this horse paddock area. Maybe in the future there's a way for me to kind of section this in, but pig fencing is somewhat difficult because pigs are so rough and tough, you know? You got to make sure it's strong. So when I built this, I built it with chain link fencing, so they can't break it. Very durable. You want to play ball, huh? I know, that's why you brought me the ball. I know, that's why you brought me the ball. Okay, I'm going to go that way, okay? Ready? Now, if you're the type of people that want to sell their house in the city and move to the country and start homesteading, maybe not full-on homesteading, but some type of modern homesteading like us, be prepared that there's an extraordinary amount of work to be done, and it all depends on what kind of dreams you have. And I mean the kind of dreams you have, you know, like people just have dreams specifically about living the homestead lifestyle or living on a farm or somehow getting themselves into a similar situation. I'm talking very specifically, like once you do get your farm, what are your dreams then? So one of my darling's dreams was to grow blueberries. So I built this blueberry patch for us. There's 40 blueberry bushes here, 3 different varieties, so we have a lot of cross-pollination. And so far this year, it looks like we're going to get a pretty decent harvest of actual blueberries. So something to look forward to. Look at this one here. It's still small, like it's not really that big. It's only maybe up to my knees. But look how many blueberries are on it. There's literally hundreds of blueberries. It's really got pollinated well. This one has a ton of blueberries too, but it's a little bit of a bigger bush. But interestingly enough, that one over there doesn't have any. There's no fruits at all, but it's a good size. So, I don't know. I guess it's just nature. Some of them are not doing too well. That one's not doing too well. That row over there we planted just last year and it's doing really well. But we'll continue to fertilize. We'll continue to add some aluminum sulfate into the water as we're watering, because that adjusts the pH level to a bit more acidic. So blueberries need some acidic soil, you know. We recently started to do this raspberry patch also. This whole area up to there is going to be raspberries eventually. I still have a bunch more strips to do of this black landscape fabric because I want all this to be blackberries and raspberries. We're going to have all the superfoods, right? We're going to have blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. This is awesome. What an awesome way to live. And even though I was born in the city, I am so happy. I'm so blessed that my wife and I finally got ourselves financially able to get a big size property and turn it into a dream type homestead. Not everybody can say that they can do that. So I'm proud, obviously. Hello, chickens. How are you guys? Ooh, they're all over there by the compost. It's nice to see the chickens in the 3-bin compost section there, because less work for me to do if they can scratch around and mix up the soil a little bit as it's breaking down. Goslings are keeping their distance over there after this rainstorm. Goslings, you guys okay? Goslings? I wonder at what point they are finished being goslings and they're kind of adolescents, you know? They're not like babies anymore. These guys are huge. You know, like how chickens, there's like baby chicks, and then they become a pullet, and then they become a hen. It's the same with a rooster. The rooster is a chick when it's small, and then once it gets a little bit older, it becomes a cockerel, and then it becomes a full-on cock or rooster, right? So, I don't know. Goslings are different. I'll have to study that a little bit. Goslings! Oh, you got your water all dirty. Goslings! Second big project that I did on our small farm here is build this ultimate chicken house. We call it the Chateau du Poulet. It basically has 7 coops in an octagon. So you can see there's the barred rock flock right there. Then there's the light Sussex flock. So they can't come out today because Big Red is out and the roosters will fight. Goslings! They're not really following me anymore. They're getting a little bit big now. Goslings! The past 4 or 5 videos, they've been following me around. Goslings, come here. They're funny though, I must admit. Goslings! Goslings! Got some fresh grass over here, guys. Big Red and his crew of girls is doing a good job in the compost. They probably weren't coming over to this area because there was huge weeds and grass, right? But I just mowed all in here, so it's looking at least somewhat reasonable now. My darling's helping me out. She's doing a bit of vacuuming inside the chicken house because it gets a lot of cobwebs and dust and whatnot. But we have our security goose booth over there. That allows the geese to free range with the chickens, or it will at least when they get older. Ducky Bunky is where the ducks spend their evenings. During the day, they free range in the orchard. And right over there is our bunny barn and rabbitat. Let's just go in and check in with the rabbits. We just had a couple days of rain, plus today's downpour. This is full, and this is full. So that's awesome, really awesome. So even if the power goes out and I can't pump water from our well, we have these 2 barrels to water all the animals and water any of the plants in an emergency. But I will be making more rain catchment systems in the future because that's not enough for the whole farm. I just harvested a bunch of this Artemisia stuff. It's really good rabbit food. The rabbits enjoy it. No other animal on our farm enjoys the Artemisia, but that's okay because I hardly have to buy any food for the rabbits during our non-winter months because we have so much grass, dandelions, there's certain weeds, we have comfrey all around, and we have this Artemisia stuff. And really, if you're talking about how much it costs to run a small farm or to live this kind of a country lifestyle, you want to manage how much money you have to spend on feed. And having a bunch of wild stuff like this for the animals to eat, can't get any better than that. Here you go, rabbits. You got some nice Artemisia. Yeah, it's the good stuff. Oh, you're hungry right away, eh, girl? I can hear the boy just came in. There he is. He's looking for some goodies too. There you go, buddy. I guess that girl feels so hot. You see, she pushed all of the straw away to get down to the wood. Because it's been so hot, rabbits do not like the heat. Oh, she just got up. Now she's hungry. Now these are Californian rabbits, and we raise the rabbits basically because we want their perfectly good cold manure, and it's cold, therefore you can add it as a fertilizer into your garden beds immediately. unlike other types of manure that need to compost down for 6 months to a year. Look at that rabbit there. They're digging down a little hole so that they can get to the cold soil. For sure she feels hot. I made these little tunnel things for them that lead into the fake burrow, but they like to go in there. And when I built this rabbitat section, there's a fencing 6 inches into the ground, and then I put a bunch of soil on top so they can't escape. This is an important thing to note about rabbits, because rabbits will dig and they will find their way out. But in our case, they can't, because the whole flooring in here has a 1-inch fencing. Another good tip for anybody who's interested in getting into this kind of a life. I should probably do a whole video on tips. I've learned so much these past 4 years. If you're not a handy person, I don't know, like, you're gonna have to be hiring people to build things for you. I mean, if you just look at our case, this little village that I created here, right? You have that old barn, which I didn't build, but I built the catio. I built the bunny barn and the rabbitat. I built the ducky bunkie and their 30-foot run. I built the goose caboose that's out in the orchard. I built the fencing all around the garden. I built the security booth right here. And I built the Chateau du Poulet chicken house. And I've done all this by myself. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm simply saying if I was to hire out to a contractor building all of this stuff, it would be tens of thousands of dollars just in labor. Now, I spent a lot of money on lumber, but I did all the work myself. So I can build whatever I want because I save so much money on the labor. But that's what I was talking about earlier, about dreams. People have dreams and desires. It doesn't necessarily mean what you need to have on your small farm, but you may desire to have certain things like this chicken house. I definitely don't need a chicken house like that. I wanted it. How the heck did a duck get right there in front of the bunny barn? How did she get out of the orchard? That's a female hen. Now where did that hen go? I got my trusty net and the hen's gone. Where did she go? There she is. She's in there. See her? Oh no, she's in the tall weeds. Oh no. She knows I'm after her. Where's she going? This isn't good. Yeah, go in the chicken house. Got her. I gotcha, girlie. What are you trying to do? Why are you getting out of there? Look at the back of her neck there. She's getting beat up too much by the drakes. Hey, Dexter. How are ya? She looks otherwise healthy. Are you following me, Dexter? I gotta put this duck back. She's okay. Probably the drakes are scaring her away. There she goes. She just needs a little water time. A little bit of time in the duck pond. One of the things we really enjoy about country living is all the fresh, amazing, incredible, organic, healthy food that we get. Growing our own food. And we built this garden that's about 104 feet by 57 feet. So it's a good sized garden. I built this trellis. We got these raised beds. We got this type of raised bed that's made out of galvanized steel that I purchased. And we have dozens of more raised beds. And it's a lot easier to control the weeds and the grasses with this black landscape fabric, I can tell you that, because we've experienced both. And when you're working for a living and trying to run a farm and trying to run a YouTube channel on top of all of that, you don't have time. I don't have the money to hire somebody to do all this stuff. And I don't have time to be doing weeding 8 hours a day. This landscape fabric, in my opinion, has been a game changer because the garden looks extremely organized, and it definitely assists us in making our time gardening more enjoyable. If you have to spend all your time weeding, then your time is not going to be enjoyable. You're going to be upset all the time and frustrated, and you're not going to enjoy it, and you're going to give up on it. But this is our garden this year. We have a whole slew of different types of tomatoes. We have potatoes inside these rubber bins. We planted garlic late last year, and it's all coming up beautifully. We have cabbage. We have a whole bed full of broccoli. We have eggplants coming along. We have onions. We have loads of strawberries. We've planted carrots. We've planted radish. We've planted beets, beans, peas, pole beans. We planted okra. We have a bunch of herbs. So in listing off all the things that we've planted this year, I think when I use the term dabbling in gardening, it's very loosely because we're getting there. This is our third full year gardening like this, and we're getting there. This is what it looks like after a lot of hard work in 3 years. What's it going to look like after 5 years? Just going to help us become more successful gardeners. Now we're also trying hard this year to grow some corn. So we got one section here with a bunch of corn, one section here with a bunch of watermelon and cantaloupe, and then we have this row right here is all pumpkins. Another big plus to having a good sized property. We're not talking 1 or 2 acres, right? Because we're 90 acres here. So we have so much space to have fun with and experiment and all sorts of things like that. So this area, pretty much all the way down there, all the way up to that fence up there, all the way over to that corner, and then that's the goose caboose over there. That's kind of the edge. This is all our mini orchard. And it's not going to be like a production orchard. It's just for us, for our animals, for our family, for our friends. If we have a complete overabundance, maybe we'll start selling some when the time is right. Maybe with a roadside stand, or I don't know. I don't even know how to sell them, but we'll see. This is very important to us to have some food security as we get older into our retirement also. So we have pears, plums, peaches, cherries, lots of different kinds of apples. We have some chestnuts. We have a few black walnuts. This is a peach tree that I planted last year right beside the mulberry. You see these mulberries? This is white mulberries. I mean, they're not white yet, but the tree itself is a white mulberry. Once these become ripe, we just eat them fresh off the tree, or we could make jam out of them. But honestly, the birds get a lot of them. But back to this peach tree, it's such a small tree. It's only basically up to my shoulders. But look at the fruits on them. Look, there's one there, there's a couple pieces in there. So I'm surprised that the tree is so small, but it has 5 or 6 fruits on it. So I don't know, I think somebody told me years ago that when the tree is still young, you should just remove the fruits. You want all the energy to go into the tree to try to make a stronger tree, to have more growth. I don't know, I kind of want to see how these peaches will grow and taste them. Who doesn't like peach cobbler? You know what I'm saying? Let me show you the other breeds of chickens we have. We got 4 more turkeys here to replace the 4 that died. So we got those 2 turkeys right there. Those are the 2 surviving turkeys, and they're getting big now. Look at them. Hi, turkeys. It was nice that the woman warranties the turkey babies for 48 hours. So if they pass away in 48 hours, she replaced all 4 of them for me because we lost 4 of the 6. Now these turkeys are a week old. Where are you going? Now they're all tucked in the corner over there. Hiya, turkeys. How are you? You okay? This is our light Sussex flock. That's our big boy Michael Jackson there. That's because he's a little bit black and a little bit white. But he's a handsome fella. And they got 4 hens. One of the hens are just in here trying to lay some eggs. Our barred rock flock always seem to lay their eggs on the ground. There's 3 eggs in there and 1 egg in here. So I know one of the hens is laying in here pretty well every day. But the other 3 are laying on the ground right here. They don't really care for the nesting boxes. Beautiful eggs though. These birds right here are black leghorns. That's Elvis Presley right there. Here, Elvis, you want some? I know you do, buddy. Hey, bud. You're a hunk of burning love, huh? Somehow one Rhode Island Red snuck in here, and I just left her in here. It's fine. She's got a brown egg, and these black leghorns all have a white egg, so it's easy to distinguish. This is basically 2 days worth of eggs for us, and it keeps us going. We haven't bought eggs for 4 years now. That's another great thing about the country living. You can just have a few chickens, and you'll get enough eggs for you and your family, even just with like 3 or 4 chickens, you know, because they're laying every day or every other day, and who eats eggs literally every day? So the days that you're not eating eggs, you just hold it. And the eggs last for a really long time if you don't wash them. Hope you enjoyed today's video about the simple life we're endeavoring to lead on our small farm here in Canada. Hope you had a good time listening and watching all of our animals. And I'm going to put a video up on the screen. If you haven't seen it already, go ahead and click it. It's just going to recap all of our 3 years on the farm to see all the stuff that we've done. It's pretty interesting if you haven't seen it. And don't forget to click the like button for me, please. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, follow along on our journey here, and don't forget to click that little bell notification symbol so that you get a notification every time we upload a new video, which is usually on Monday mornings and Thursday mornings at 7 a.m. Anyways, you guys take care. Thanks for watching. You okay, Mango?